Welcome to Oddities, a show where we take a look at locations and games to find details, moments, and minutiae we just think are interesting. Celebrating the mundane that someone still had to put thought into, and supposing tiny stories that could coincide. So grab yourself a tea or a coffee and sit back as we explore together. Today, we're here in Nightfall, the fourth mission in Halo Reach. Here, in this lonely place called Zerdok Ridge, we're tasked with infiltrating behind enemy lines. Despite being an action franchise, Halo does the quieter moments really well. The place is drenched in an atmosphere that you get to sit back and enjoy before the gunfire starts. You can hear distant thunder and artillery, the two sounding very similar. Small fireflies dart around the underbrush, and crickets sing their tune in the humid night air. All the trees around here are cracked and dry, so this light rainfall must be a reprieve from the wind and sun. The rocks are stained with lichen and run slick in the wet, threatening to crumble as we walk atop. Below, we can see a giant river, probably what carved this canyon over millennia. It runs down to the south, next to what looks like an old lake bed. Centuries ago, this place might have been filled with water or a glacier. Perhaps it dried up, or was dammed somewhere when the planet was colonized. We are going to come upon some dams. Maybe the network of the Frontier Hydro scheme saw this place emptied out. The Covenant probably didn't have a hand in it, for there's trees and plant life growing within. Coming up to this first settlement, we can find similar conditions to those in winter contingency. It seems settlers pick and choose from prefabs when modelling their buildings, usually conforming to a semicircular shape with large communal spaces and storage sheds. Their main function, sitting in the centre, surrounded by a ring of supporting facilities, administrative buildings, or living quarters. A halo, if you will. An interesting echo of the circular architecture of the Forerunners, though that might be reading a little too much into it. This place looks like it might have been fuel storage, with these tanks in the middle sporting fire safety hazard warnings. Surprising that matches still exist in the far future, but I guess, if it ain't broke. It's definitely a working area, but they do have bunks over here that settlers can fall into, perhaps doing shifts of multiple days before heading back to a larger settlement. A few remained when the enemy landed, trying to fend off the Covenant as best they could. It looks like this wall, made of giant concrete slabs, might have been used to prevent rockfalls and landslides. With the way it's cracked and bulging slightly, it might be holding quite a bit of weight back. Probably a temporary fix that has now been forced to become permanent. They might have been replaced with one of these reinforced bunker-esque walls had supplies arrived. In the next area, we come across what looks like a giant grain silo, with an outlet at the bottom here that probably fed trucks that would transport it throughout the ridge settlements. They store plenty of mulch too, everything indicating the strong agrarian society out here. They must have been planning a construction project, for there's plenty of timber planks lying about the area. all packed into neat piles. Perhaps to help repair these staircases that have been destroyed just beyond the silo. The Covenant appear to have interrupted. In the area, we fight the giant Guta. We can see the marks left by the trucks carrying the grain, weaving their way through the canyon. Depending on Reach's seasonal cycle, I wonder if this place is prone to flooding. With the natural bowl created, it would make sense for water to pool here after heavy rainfall. This dam, however, could be assisting in preventing the flooding, catching all the water in this confluence here. With these giant pumps, it seems hydroelectricity powers much of the region. The water is guided through these man-made systems that run under the facility, arriving at these intakes that can be released into the riverbed when it begins to overflow. Assuming that the depths of the water can ideally come up to this bridge, then the lower portions of these pumps must usually be submerged. We were wondering why these buildings were placed here then, but upon closer inspection, it seems there's a drain running around the structure, preventing the water from coming up into the walkways. There's buoys, or buoys, depending on where you're from, surrounding the dam site, likely warning watercraft that they're getting too close to the intake. The settlers could probably use said boats to ferry supplies, each village presumably nearby the river. We do love how tactile the setup feels. Despite being the far future, those on the frontiers still have to figure out how to provide for themselves. It just adds that little bit of immersion and world building, which is doubly important in a game like Reach, where the world itself plays such a big part in the narrative. It's here we can see exactly what we're helping defend, and makes it that much harder when we realize we can't. Everything here, soon to be nothing but glass. Also, all the boys have a 7 on them. Coming into the power station proper, we can find the Covenant jamming device and leave them a little present for the next mission. Cat tells us to leave the charge hidden. You tell me if this is inconspicuous. Here we can see the beginning of a power line network that likely runs alongside the road from settlement to settlement. It's a wonder the Covenant didn't disable it somehow, leaving the settlers without power and lights. Perhaps they didn't think them much of a threat, and are attempting to keep their presence on the down low anyway. Should certain villages go dark around a perimeter, then the UNSC could probably map the dark zone visually without needing to locate the jammers. Inside, we can find a kind of control room or switchboard with displays measuring the condition of the station, temperatures, pressure, and the like. Working around electricity and water is a dangerous combo, so it's good to see the plant workers monitoring everything closely. Though I worry these cables are a tripping hazard. Interestingly, the plant had UNSC provided weapon caches on the wall, perhaps to ward off insurgents. But it seems most of these settlements housed members of the insurrection. So why they have these is strange. They may be here from before their sentiment of the UNSC dipped, or they were stolen from a military installation and moved. Useful though, for when the Covenant come knocking. It looks like the place is designed to have more water rushing through, with floodgates here to prevent it flowing into the facility. With the amount of water stored just up here, the workers must only have the outflow slightly open, perhaps thinking the place could return to operation once the Covenant are pushed out of the area. The torrent would probably be quite powerful, which makes the lack of safety barriers a little concerning. Should someone be swept away, they'll find themselves barreling down this waterfall, which doesn't look very survivable. There's a small lunch break area in this building here, with 2 fridges for workers to keep their food. No seating though, except for a cardboard box. The gate leading into the facility has a cattle grate, likely to prevent animals from wandering into the area, damaging equipment or hurting themselves. Assaulting the Covenant position, we can see how they've dug into the canyon here, using its natural architecture to hide their forces. Shade turrets threaten to rain fire down on any vehicles trying to make use of the road, while phantoms and banshees patrol the skies to prevent an aerial attack. Though it seems pretty sturdy, I would worry about driving below this bridge formation here. If we're going with the theory that the area often experiences rockfalls, then this is a disaster waiting to happen, especially with the rain. The Covenant now enjoy it as a vantage point, but a well-placed rocket would probably see the whole thing falling. It looks like some civilian settlers made a stand here, trying to prevent the Covenant from taking the hydro station. Very brave. I, for one, would be running as soon as I saw what those plasma weapons can do. With that, we locate the Covenant invasion force and prepare for a busy day ahead. Thanks for watching. Just a short one today where we work on some bigger projects. Hopefully you enjoyed. Shout out to our members: Thane Creos 8, Anna A2640, Najkula, Renee, Patrick Connerton 4171, Speed of the Earth, Nathan Armstrong 6085, Call Me Jibs, Dadney, and Callum Kenny. Stay tuned for more oddities, odysseys, observations, open roads, opinions, and live streams. And we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.